And he was having trouble kind of like getting in, and it wasn't until he asked Quentin what music is going to get played. And then they told him, and he's like, okay, so they put it on a boombox, and he's like, he just kind of, and then I started dancing to the music, you know what I mean? Like Forrest Gump. And he just kind of went, and he's like, nobody was saying cut. So, and same with the ear. He was supposed to originally just throw the ear, and he's like, he just didn't feel like the character that was going to be right. And so that's when he was like, he starts talking into the ear, hello, hello, and then he throws the ear, right? So, and that, yeah, that scene is crazy. It's crazy, and it's like a lot of just improv, just actors, good actors in a scene, understanding their characters, and then moving forward.
On July 3rd, we lost someone who probably meant a lot more to you than you realize. Please join us in honoring Michael Madsen. Chris, he was a friend of ours.
Are you going to bark all day, little doggy, or are you going to bite? Hey, everybody, and welcome to this week's episode of How'd You Like That Movie? As Scott pointed out, Michael Madsen just passed away due to cardiac arrest. He was 67. Some of you may know him, may know a lot of his roles, or maybe just some of them. We're going to try and do just a little bit of coverage. But before we do that, Scott, so are you going to go see the new Smurfs movie? I know it's kind of a weird transition, but what do you think? You gonna check it out?
Unfortunately, I will not be watching it. I just have other commitments that day that I won't be able to attend.
But you're the like family guy on the show. Like you're like,
yes.
So isn't this supposed to be like the best thing ever? Like a movie that you get like kind of press access to, and you get to take your family.
So yeah. No, I wish we could do it. You know, with my youngest child being 13 years old, I'm sure they're all looking for, and my oldest being 20, I'm sure that they're all looking forward to going to the Smurfs. But yeah, it was just we're getting ready for our big trip coming up in August, and we just got a lot of stuff to do. So unfortunately, I would not be able to attend. But Chris, I know how big of a Rihanna fan you are, and Sticks and Stones, you know.
Actually, you know what? This is
I don't know.
Yeah, sorry, audience. We're gonna do a little bit of just chit chat just for a second, and then we're gonna transfer from Scott Vega to Vic Vega. We're gonna get back to Michael Madsen on the topic of Rihanna. Actually, it's funny. When I was in the Navy, we had the music video for Under My Umbrella in our mess. And this is where you drink on your ship or whatever. And so we would go to anchor. We would be in a foreign port. We would have our mess open. So you've got a bunch of like 20-something-year-old sailors, men and women, drinking their faces off. And then like on repeat, singing and dancing to that Rihanna video. So yeah, I've enjoyed Rihanna in the past. On that note, we will now segue into our retrospect of Michael Madsen. Scott, take us away.
Yeah, with 327, I believe, film credits to his name. He is a part of your favorite movie, whether you realize it or not. Like, and I know for me, the first time I was introduced to him,
War Games, or was it Free Willy?
It was free. Obviously, it was fucking Free Willy, man.
I need to go back. I need to go back and watch War Games because I remember watching War Games as a kid. With my Matthew Broderick or whatever, and like I can't really place. I guess I could have Googled it, but I can't actually place his character. I guess he's like a lieutenant or something like that, lieutenant if you're outside of the British Commonwealth.
Yeah. So that was the thing. Like he would that was, you know, and anybody who's listened to this movie, you know, he was a good foster dad, right? And that was the tip. What's the word I'm looking for? Antithesis. Yes. Of like how I should be as a dad, right? I use my dad as an example and use the Free Willy guy.
So Glen Greenwood is who taught Scott how to be a daddy.
I was
not a daddy.
If my kids, well, if it was still open, if today my kids watch Free Willy and they're like, let's go fucking go to Marineland and save these whales, I'd be there with a pickup truck. Like, I don't know how this is gonna work, but let's fucking do it.
Well, considering it's Michael Madsen, there's probably a shotgun or pistols or like it's weird because like yes, he has some like dramatic roles but like I'm like you said, he's got hundreds of roles, but like the big ones he's known for the most part, are like gangster archetypes typically, right? Or detectives that are kind of corrupt. Like he's almost like he's definitely a neo-noir figure, but like yeah, he's almost like a noir level character in a lot of his films.
Yeah, and there's a bunch of interviews you can find, especially now, like with a retrospective on him, and he talks about, Reservoir Dogs and how he was timid to do it at the beginning because he thought he was going to be typecast as the guy with the gun, right? Until he read the script and he was like, I gotta be a part of this. So yeah, I get exactly what you're saying. Now,
would you say that I'm just going to throw this, and honestly, if you're the audience listening, feel free to contact us and let us know what you think as well. Would you say that Reservoir Dogs like that, Mr. Blonde, Vic Vega, like, do you think that is the most quintessential quintessential role that he's been in? Like, what do you think? Like,
maybe.
I mean, he's pretty good as Sonny Black and Donnie Brasco as well, right?
Yeah. That's like Donnie Brasco is one of my favorites, and we talked about it when we did Goodfellas way back fucking 5 years ago. How I would put Brasco over Goodfellas, but yeah, like, I know this is gonna sound stupid, but what about Species?
I mean, we covered Species, and I have it on my list. I mean, he's a major character in that and
his career, like, yeah, like his.
But Species is 95, right? Like, he already had a pretty, like, Reservoir Dogs 92, Thelma and Louise he's in 91.
Right, but those were all like what I mean is, like, I think because Reservoir Dogs was like, it wasn't a hit coming out. It gained a cult following.
Sure,
right?
Sure.
Thelma and Louise, it was a hit, but also like he's a supporting character, right? Like he isn't as in it as much as well,
Brad Pitt's in Thelma and Louise as well. A young Brad Pitt. I think it might be one of his first acting roles.
I think that's the one that got him noticed, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the same thing, like The Doors was a hit, but again,
and is The Doors because he works with Val Kilmer in Kill Me Again in 1989, but I think he also, obviously he was in The Doors with Val Kilmer. I think that are those the only two movies he did with Val Kilmer? The late great Val Kilmer.
Maybe. I don't know off the top of my head, because again, it's 324 film credits he has, right? So
yeah, and I actually just read a quote from him. I'm just going to paraphrase it, and essentially, like, it was this idea of like, not all of the films he's been in are great, and he's like, essentially, I got fucking kids to feed. It's my job, right? Like, it's kind of, he's kind of like De Niro, except for De Niro, it's because he has a ton of alimony and he fucking blows money like a madman. But he's like I'm an actor. That's my job. Yeah, some things are going to be high drama, Oscar nominated. So, and some stuff is just a fucking paycheck. Like, and you got to respect a man for that. He's got like 6 or 7 kids. Like, he's like, I have bills to pay. I have a roof to put over their head and like food to put on the table. Right. So you can appreciate like a journeyman actor that's willing to just go out and work. Right. So.
Well, that was wasn't that Michael Caine as well, all through the 80s and 90s? He was just like, a roll's a roll, a paycheck's a paycheck. It doesn't matter if it's
well. And what about like Nicolas Cage, right? Like, he's like, I was in debt, and the only way to get myself out of debt was to work. So he worked. Mm-hmm. Great. Now he's less in debt, I guess, and he's still doing, and he's got to come back, right? So. Yeah. Did you go and check out any films getting ready for this? Like, whether it was like ones that like Reservoir Dogs, or maybe some deep cuts?
No. Yeah, I rewatched Donnie Brasco.
Yeah, me too.
right? Because yeah, like it was so like that movie's so fucking good, but also like the way he plays his character of Sonny. He's Sonny
Sonny
Black,
Black, Sonny
right?
Black.
And then the
And
other
then they
guy is
wax
Sonny
Sonny
Red.
Red.
Yeah, but the way he does it, and then my favorite scene on there is Madsen, Pacino, and I don't remember the other guy when they do the reveal that Johnny Depp was
An FBI agent.
yeah. Yeah, and he's just throwing the pictures, and they're all out. Then they go outside. They're having the cigarettes, and he was like, "Oh, if you didn't know Donnie, you would believe it, right?" And then you can see him just like getting ready to like put in the order to fucking whack Al Pacino, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah, yeah.
he's just agreeing with him, like, yeah, if you didn't know Donnie, right? Like Donnie's a stand-up guy. And then boom, it has that ending, which I think it's one of the best endings in movies.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Where he knows this is the time, and he's just putting everything in the fucking drawer of value for his wife, and then you just hear the gunshot.
Yeah, man. Man, Donnie Brasco, I rewatched it as well. I think it's a fantastic movie. And he plays Sonny Black so well because he has to kind of keep changing how he is, right? Because at the beginning he's like the skipper, then he bumps up to like a bigger boss, and then he becomes like the boss of bosses, right? So I actually checked out Mulholland Falls. It's classic neo noir. And so I had realized I had never actually seen it. I was like, oh, I guess I got it confused with Mulholland Drive, which by David Lynch, which I'm not going to go on to a David Lynch rant. He's very good in those kind of roles. In that he's playing a detective, but I mean, he might as well be a fucking gangster. They like the opening film, they like throw a guy off. They call it Mulholland Falls because they go up Mulholland Drive and fucking throw dude off the fucking cliff, right? So
Yeah.
And you really like Species as well, right?
Yeah, like it's Geiger, right? But he's the one that made fucking Species for me. It was similar to what I was saying, like when we were talking about F1, right? Like his charisma in that fucking movie, where you're just like following him, right? Like it doesn't matter. It's just like fucking 90s booby fucking horror sci-fi porn, but like he like made that movie where you're just like kind of just fucking rooting for him, and that's when I started like really looking out for the movies he was in, and then going back, and then after Species is when I found fucking Reservoir Dogs.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So like basically Michael Madsen actually kind of turned you on to Quentin Tarantino in a sense.
Yeah. He definitely turned me on to Quentin. Because that's and I think it is sad because I really do wish we gotten the Vega brother movie.
Yeah, that's because your last name's Vega.
100%. The posters would have been running
versus the Vega brothers.
The posters would have been all over everywhere. But no, just those two, like how those two characters were portrayed, to see them in the screen. We could have had, like, my guess it would have been done in the 2000s or late 90s. Like we could have had, like, that would have been Blues Brothers 2000. Like that would have been.
Blues Brothers 2000 is an awful movie. I don't know why.
No,
you
but
would compare those two.
What I mean is like what the Blues Brothers was in the 70s. Like I call like I think.
Oh, like Blues Brothers in the 2000s.
In 2000s,
not the awful movie that is Blues Brothers 2000.
It's 2000. Yeah, like technically, I'm pretty sure if they had Vega Brothers, Blue Brothers 2000, probably wouldn't have happened, right? Because they're like, let's not go up against this.
Maybe. If you're looking for more stuff, there's a really great article by slashfilm.com. It's called the 12 things you need to know. The 15 best Michael Madsen movies ranked. There's some really good stuff on there. I didn't even realize they did a remake with, who's the big Baldwin there? Alec Baldwin and Kim Basinger.
Yeah.
They did a remake of The Getaway. Yeah. Have you seen it?
Well, like when it first came out.
You saw the remake, like the 1994 remake, not the original one with Ali MacGraw and...
No, with Basinger and and
Alec Baldwin.
and it was super weird because they had no chemistry, but they were married at the same time, and you're like they just threw in the sex scene.
And James Woods in that too, right? So
yeah, and you're like, they threw in the sex scene. It doesn't even feel like these people like to have sex with each other.
I mean, and if you know anything about the fucking relationship between those two, that's probably accurate. Also, this is where I found out about Kill Me Again with Val Kilmer. I'm gonna try and get a watch in on that. I guess I should have watched it for the show, but he died. We had to do a show. Obviously, there's the big stuff like Kill Bill, which is funny. So
wait. I do want to say, just back to The Getaway.
Yeah,
the one you just said, Kill Me Again. It's Val Kilmer with his wife at the time.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. And then Michael Madsen technically is her ex-love interest.
Yeah.
And I think they actually, from what I remember, and it's been a while since I've watched that one, I'm pretty sure Madsen and Kilmer's wife have a sex scene in that too.
That's a wild kind of cucking, eh? You're just I want to get paid to watch my wife have sex with somebody else. Obviously, big with Quentin Tarantino is little character roles. He was in Kill Bill 1 and 2 as Bud, which I actually dressed up as for Halloween last year, which is crazy. It's because I was fat. So I was like, well, I need a costume that can be fat. Oh, he's kind of a degen. I'm going to be doing that. If you're watching the YouTube video, our editor probably just slid in a picture of me in that costume. Obviously, he's in Once Upon a Time in Mexico, The Hateful Eight. And then there's Sin City, which I fucking totally forgot about. Obviously, I'm assuming you're a big fan of Sin City. What's that, Rodriguez?
Yeah, that's Rodriguez and Frank Miller. It's a fucking, for what it was, yeah, the cinema style, using the green screen, how they did. It's one of the first ones that you actually see it. And the way, I think the way they used color is fucking amazing in that movie.
Well, and because is it like 300, where there's that kind of crossover between CGI and real life and animation and that? Is that how they did that aesthetic?
Yeah, but if I'm not mistaken, Sin City's first, then 300 came out after. 300 kind of used it after.
Well, and that's Miller as well.
That's Miller's. It's based on a Miller graphic novel, but he didn't direct. I think he just produced it because it was his body of work. The one he produced in the same style was The Spirit with fucking guy from Suits, Gabriel Mack.
Didn't that guy just die too?
No,
someone from Suits just died. Someone from Suits just died, didn't they? Oh no, it was Nip Tuck. I can't keep those stupid.
Yes. Oh my god, the guy just died and you just bashed him. He's like the first fucking, well, it's technically second, Marvel Doctor Doom. He played Doctor Doom in Fast Dr. Four.
That's cool. So is Donnie Brasco again? I don't want to drag this out too long. Is Donnie Brasco your favorite film?
Of Madsen's?
Yeah. Or is it Reservoir Dogs?
No, it would most likely be Madsen first. Or sorry, Brasco first, and then Reservoir Dogs, then Species.
Well, it's funny too, because his scene in Reservoir Dogs, audience, feel free to let us know. I think it's the one that most people. I would say that it is the most known scene, is that scene, to the point that it's been made fun of on The Simpsons. It's parodied. It's sort of like the Buffalo Bill, what is it, Wild Horses or whatever, dance scene. It is, when you talk about that film, you're like, oh, when he cuts the ear off or whatever. There's other stuff that's kind of in pop culture, the whole thing about tipping and stuff. But I would argue he ends up being the focal point of that movie, and he's just part of the ensemble cast.
Well, do you know how that all came together though?
You could tell me.
Yeah. So if you look at it, because it was such a small budget, I guess Quentin told everybody to just have black suits, right? Yep. And then they were going to provide the ties. So if you look at it, Steve Buscemi's character is actually just wearing black jeans because he didn't have black suit pants. And Madsen, his jacket and pants are off color, but he didn't have fucking dress shoes. All he had were black cowboy boots. And that's how he kind of came up with the whole, that's where the knife came from, right? Because he didn't have a place to put it.
Yeah.
And then he was like, oh, fuck, my cowboy boots. And then he was like, I could reveal my boots. So it's just kind of like happenstance because of how tight that budget was, and they like how limited funds. They literally just had to work with what they had, and it made the scene even more.
Oh yeah, because it's like you said, it's a reveal, and then it just like keeps escalating. And so I actually just saw, I wish I could remember who it was on TikTok so I could give them proper credit, but they were showing it was a splice of the interviews with Michael Madsen and Quentin Tarantino about that scene, and how just in the script it basically says, you know, he dances melodically, maniacally. I can't say the word anyway. And he was having trouble kind of like getting in, and it wasn't until he asked Quentin what music is going to get played, and then they told him, and he's like, okay, so they put it on a boombox, and he's like, he just kind of, and then I started dancing to the music, you know what I mean, like Forrest Gump, and he just kind of went, and he's like, nobody was saying cut. So, and same with the ear. He was supposed to originally just throw the ear, and he's like, he just didn't feel like the character that was going to be right. And so that's when he was like, he starts talking into the ear, hello, hello, and then he throws the ear, right? So, and that scene is crazy. It's crazy, and it's like a lot of just improv, just actors, good actors in a scene, understanding their characters, and then moving forward. So, I do think we have lost a really solid actor. But one thing I do want to point out to the audience is he actually is a very accomplished poet. So you can actually go on Amazon right now and get the complete poetic works of Michael Madsen, 1995 to 2005. But that includes multiple books that he wrote, like Beer, Blood, and Ashes, Eat the Worm, Burning in Paradise. Like, I think he's even got a bunch of award-winning poems. Like, he's not just like, oh, I'm famous, I'm going to write poetry. Like, he was like a poet at heart. Which, again, is just such a wild situation when you think of the characters he fucking played. Like, you don't picture Mr. Blond, like, fucking writing poetry before he chops your fucking ears off. You know what I mean?
Maybe
that. The duality of man. What? It's the duality of man. It's a Jungian thing, sir. That's the Full Metal Jacket, if you don't know. Scott, do you have anything else you want to say about the late, great Michael Madsen for our audience and for the show to say goodbye to him?
No, I'm good. And that is our wrap for the day. Please like and subscribe to this podcast. Tell your friends. If you want to get a hold of us, reach us at the www.howdyoulikethatmovie.com.
It's weird. Like, on one hand, it's like, okay, you're doing like a 25-minute show on the like just decades-long career of someone, but I feel like there's people that do better deep dives, and so I don't know. I hope that we covered all the superficial stuff. What do you think, Scott?
Yeah, that's the thing. It's not us to. It's just us to kind of like just take a moment and appreciate what this actor did to our lives, right? Like, you can look at his own body of work, and if I'm not mistaken, there's like in the next year or so, there is an in-depth documentary, which is probably the last thing he did, about his whole career that's going to be coming out.
Yeah, I think it's called like Michael on Madison, or it's like one of those very typical documentary titles, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, look forward to checking that out. And yeah, R.I.P., man. R.I.P. Production by Rod Shaver, Vader Monkey Productions.